Hi, ladies. Here we are launching into week 7. And again, it just continues to fly by faster and faster. But before we get started with week 7 and you dig into this week's study, I want to speak to you a little bit about measuring up. So many times, measuring up becomes a real issue to us as women. Measuring up to other women, measuring up to our own expectations of ourselves, measuring up to what someone else as we were growing up thought that we should be. There are all kinds of things that we try to measure up to. Before we get to digging in, I really want you to grab a piece of paper and pen, and I'll wait here for just a minute. You can also hit the pause button. It can be a piece of scrap paper. It can be the back cover of your Pure Emotion book. It can be a napkin, which I have often written many, many notes on napkins. But once you get that piece of paper, I want to ask you a question. And that question is, how often do you not measure up? Perhaps you think you don't have enough, or do enough, or give enough. And yet your energy and your time is depleted. So how could you possibly do more, get more, or give more? So here are a few things that might come to mind. You might think, well, I'm tired of others getting the credit. Why even try anymore? Or my church is too small and they don't have, and then fill in the blank with whatever that is. So I can't even consider that. Or maybe my church is large and really doesn't seem to need me. Maybe you've thought, I've already served, it's someone else's turn. Or if they had only gone through what I had gone through. So go ahead and just take a minute, write your own reasons of why you think you don't measure up. I really am going to wait here a few seconds while you jot down a few things. And if you need more time, go ahead and hit the pause button, but just write your own reasons why you think you don't measure up. Okay, so now that you have a quick list, and again, you can go through this a little bit more thoroughly on your own later, but I want to at least guide you through it the first time quickly so that you have the basic premise. Now I want you to put an X through all the words that reflect back to you. So anything that you can say, me, my, I, anything that is about yourself. Put an X through those things. And then here's my next question for you. Where is God? Not long ago, I sat at church and I watched a man that I don't know get baptized. And of course, that's always a thrill, a time and a reason for rejoicing. And we clapped and sang. And a couple of the men in the balcony loudly whistled. We sang a chorus of praise. And then the man sat down on the front pew by himself. Now, the row, even though it's one of the shortest rows that we have in our worship center, seemed to swallow him. That is until two men left the balcony, strode right up to that front row, and sat on either side of him. They clapped him on the back, they introduced themselves, and they settled in for the rest of the service. Suddenly, that row that seemed empty now seemed full. Maybe you're measuring yourself with the wrong stick. Now listen to Ephesians 3:20 for a minute. Now all glory to God, who is able through his mighty power at work within us to accomplish infinitely more than we might ask or think. I want to read that again to you. Now all glory to God, who is able through his mighty power at work within us to accomplish infinitely more than we might ask or think. God says that when we work with him, He'll use us to accomplish infinitely more than what we might ask or think. And that blows how I measure what I do out of the water. It's not about me. It's not about you. You might not think that you measure up, but today is the day to do something different. Use a different measuring stick. Stop comparing yourself by the wrong measuring stick. It's time to cross yourself out of the equation and put God into it. Remember, now all glory to God, who is able, through his mighty power at work within us, to accomplish infinitely more than we might ask or think. So what will you put your whole heart into today for God? I hope that that sticks with you this week as you launch into this week's study, that you will know that no matter where you are, no matter what you're doing, you can look to God and look at his measuring stick. You can cross yourself out of the equation and put God into the equation in all things. I trust that your week will be full of challenges and encouragement, and I hope that you'll continue to check back on this page so that you'll be able to discuss and encourage other people as we're all studying together around the world. God's blessings to you.